He's gone. Brendan Rodgers has officially left Leicester City. Now, if you're not a Leicester City fan and you're probably wondering, going, what is this all about? Why are you so happy? Because a lot of the media have actually touched on how it's not been that great. It's not been that good and everything's unfortunate. He's gone. This is such a relief. It's so happy, not for a man being sacked, obviously, but what we've had to been through as a fan base for the past 12 months of just mediocrity and less than. Alex is in. We've not seen Alex. This is the second best news of the day. Alex is back. How's Alex doing?
Tired, every emotion you could possibly imagine, but I feel like I had to jump on for this one because we've been waiting way too long for this.
Mm-hmm.
Way too long for this.
The thing is, what's beautiful about the internet, there is a history, and we can go back, and there is evidence of this. If you look back through streams, and it wasn't as if it was in out. It was a slow process. I remember myself and yourself were talking, 2021 about like, if this keeps going, I want to believe in him. He's done some great stuff for us, but overwhelming feelings. What are your thoughts?
I'm hoping it's not too late. And that's like, and I want to be positive, but at the end of the day, I hope it's not too late.
I'm with you.
Because if you look at the table, you look at our form, we're winless in 6. It's just, it seems like it's kind of like the story has already laid itself out.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you just got to hope for the best in this case scenario. You hope that, whoever comes in, whether that be temporary or, a permanent manager coming in, can, unite this group of players.
Yep. And put the thing together. Sorry, I'm just...
Yeah, no, honestly, it's just you hope that this, whoever comes in can unite this squad. Because right now you need someone that can do that because they're not united.
No.
not united at all.
And this is, again, I'm just so over the moon, so happy with the news. But looking at this, again, at this current time of recording, West Ham are actually winning 1-0 as well, which is why we dropped to second bottom of the table. This gives me hope that we can... And it wasn't just, again, I'll bring out I was planning to go through this evening where I was going to talk about even other fans like Ali, who we had on the channel, coming out and saying, this guy's delusional. What was he talking about? Just getting some of the comments as well. Harry's about time. Yeah. I can sleep soundly in Australia. Mate, have a lovely sleep. Now that's the case. We'll come back. We've got a preview actually coming out in a few hours' time with a Aston Villa fan, which had to be recorded before the Crystal Palace game, but it's almost worth it now. And this is your point, isn't it? Surely we can do something now that before the fact that it was going down and down and down. This has to be a good thing now that we've got him out. And the squad that we have, I'll try and bring up the squad. In not just the starting 11, that squad is still such a good squad that can easily compete with the top 10. All we need to concentrate on the end of the season, don't get relegated. And I think now with Sack Rodgers, that was the key element.
Well, here's hoping, because like you said, you look at the squad and it has talent. It has talent from top to bottom. We're talking about the likes of James Maddison, Yuri Tillemans, who, yes, he's been lackluster this season, but he has talent. Dewsbury Hall, who has shown many, times that he's a promising young player. Harvey Barnes, the same thing. We got Daka and Nacho, who are both talented strikers, but I think just need the right motivation and the right type of manager. Our back line, we've seen brilliance from Ricardo. That's who's come back. I'm still, I think Suter and Foss is a great center back pairing. I think Iverson has really come into his own. I think I will say Rodgers did the right thing in that, but he did that too late. Way too late. And then you look at the bench, like there is promising players. And you really wonder now who's coming in, because this is the big topic now, because you look at who's available, you look at who's willing to come here. And, you look at other clubs that are in the possibility of sacking a manager and you go, okay, could we maybe pry him away? So it's a weird position to be in, because you got to look at them and be like, who's going to get us across the line and who can actually salvage this season for us?
Yeah. And I understand your point specifically about like who can salvage for us. We had an international break to potentially do this. We had 2 weeks for them to go away, clear their heads, international players who, by the way, I'm pretty sure every single one of them went away and killed it for their country. In terms of Belgium, Fast and Thingy were fantastic. We are looking at some players and we're going, right, fantastic. Daka looks fantastic on international duty. Again, I didn't watch all these games, but just from hearing fans, Danny Ward looked unbelievable on international duty. Welsh fans were telling me what a player he is. And now they come back and it was just back to square one. Same things with Rodgers, same things he's doing. As you were mentioning, Dylan, Suter played well for Australia as well. I think he actually played well as well. So look, now that we've got it off, we feel like we're salvaging what's going to happen now. Again, for the breaking news, I will bring it up on screen, but this gives us hope to potentially move forward. It's not going to be easy. We have to take every game like a cup final now, but hopefully we get a couple of wins in the next couple of games. Aston Villa is going to be a tough game. Get a couple of wins and bring us forward, because I don't know about you, Alex. I didn't think this day was going to happen until the end of the season.
No, honestly, I didn't. To be brutally honest, myself personally over here in Canada, I'm dealing with a newborn, and games come on, and it's like, do I put myself through? I have 2 hours of spare time, of free time. Do I put myself through this pain? And it's been really, really hard to be like, am I going to watch the game this week? And I hope now that that we can breathe that fresh air into this squad, and then I'm actually excited to watch this next game. And I haven't said that in a while. But like I said before, I'm so worried that this is too late, because we've been highlighting this. We have been screaming bloody murder that we need a change. We've said this probably since 2021, that there are key issues. Brendan Rodgers is, highlighting how he should be playing. There's, key errors and concerns. And everyone's like, no, it's fine. He's won us the FA Cup. We've had top finishes. And now this season came along, and it was like, what was I telling you a year ago? What was the stupid Canadian telling you a year ago? Oh, look, he was right. So, no, I'm just really hoping that, at the end of the day, 10 games left, we can do it. We can easily do it. Just get a couple good games together, and you're out of the bottom three. And I think that's the big one.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we're hoping we can get out of the bottom three. Again, apologies, my internet's lagging a little bit at the moment. Just to go through some of the club statement. Again, club statement, this is official from the LCFC website. The club have reached mutual consent for Brendan Rodgers to leave. Again, it's interesting about mutual consent because, let's be honest, after the last few matches, even this season, let's be honest, Alex, didn't feel like he really wants to be here, especially when in the first few games where he was like, yeah, well, what can we do? Yeah, what can we do? He's got his players. He had all the opportunity, didn't fulfill it. But by the mutual consent is interesting.
Yeah, I think we've talked about this a lot. I think the fee in order to sack him was way too high, and it would have just crippled the club. I really do believe that. If the rumors of the speculation surrounding the club's finances are accurate in any sense. So I think there had to be a common ground, and I think it came to a boiling point where I think the board and top really had to go to Brendan and be like, listen, we can't sack you because it's going to cripple us. If you actually care about the club that you've managed for the last 4 years, you will help us in this way. Maybe there was a payoff, and maybe it was a smaller payoff. But I think that's the only reason that it was a mutual consent, because I think, having said, if we had the money, if we had the cash, this would have been done months ago. But I think the club put themselves in a financial situation where they were unable to bring in players, which was one key component. But I think they also awarded Rodgers such a high salary that they were like, yeah, we're never going to have to worry about sacking him. And then all of a sudden, within a span of like a year, they're like, oh, whoops, we have to sack you, but we can't. And I think that's what you saw over the span of the last season was, Rodgers being like, I can say whatever the hell I want.
Yeah,
you can't sack me, because if you do, you'll cripple your own club. I'll get all the money. So I'm just going to say whatever I want. And I really do believe that was the situation we were in, was that the club, or at least the board for that matter, wanted him sacked, but they couldn't financially afford to. And he knew it.
Yeah. And that's the thing that was for me is really interesting about this situation. They rolled the dice, and thank God that they did. I mean, Tyler's got a great point about we've still got Bournemouth at home, Leeds away, West Ham at home, 9 teams fighting for 3 spots. Again, it's just now something that he's talked about is fighting concentration. Now that he's gone, let's be honest, we're not saying that the manager is totally at fault. The players have to take responsibility as well. The board needs to take responsibility because the fans have just had enough for game after game. And bless him, went all the way to the game and saw that. Now, the thing is, the question is for the long term. Do you think we're going to buy out somebody? I don't know. I think the mutual consent potentially. I don't know about what you thought about this. Think about this. There's been rumours of him going to Tottenham. Now, him leaving, obviously Antonio Conte going, and mutual consent. I don't know if this is definitely going to happen, and I'm not, but they line up quite nicely.
I've actually been listening to those rumors quite a lot. I could see Rodgers going to Tottenham, but that leaves a glaring. Okay, so if it's mutual consent, then maybe maybe Tottenham paid provided some payment.
Mm-hmm.
If this ends up happening, like this is all Galaxy branding right now, so like that could happen. But then we still have this issue of who's going to manage our club.
Yeah.
Because right now you need to get someone in. And I think we're at the point of this season where, and I don't think we're in a situation where you go, yeah, we're just going to bring someone in for the last 10 games. Like, I don't think that's the situation we're in. I think the club is going to be actively looking for a new manager, but a long-term manager that knows how to fight in a relegation battle, but then could also stay up. And I think because like that's where we're in. I don't think we're going to be like, yeah, we signed this manager for the rest of the season for 10 games.
Yeah.
You need if you want to provide that hope for the club, for the fans, for the players, you're not bringing someone in for 10 games. You're being like, hey, we're bringing in this guy and he's good because we believe in you.
Potentially, again, there is the option of summer because some managers will go, let me give it to the summer. Or like Brendan Rodgers came in. They sacked Claude Puel. Brendan Rodgers came in and it had that 10-game period. All we need to do in the next few games is stay safe. Scott has mentioned how you want as massive manager. Now, this is a question I've been asked a lot, and I understand this, but also we've had Rob on the show, Rob Tanner from The Athletic. He's mentioned, I think, Alex, when you were on the show, remember, because Leicester always looking at new players, and he went, and managers. They're always looking at the next up-and-coming thing. So we might not hear it. It might be another Wesley Fofana, but a manager. We don't know. But the thing is, we knew he was taking the wrong direction. There's Postecoglou. I don't think he'd come in now. I don't think that's going to happen. Scott Parker, I don't think that's going to happen as well. But if you're coming into this squad, this is the thing, Alex. You look at the team that we put out, even against Crystal Palace. That back four, Castagna, Christensen, again, Everson you might not know that much about, Suter, Fuss, Ndidi, he tore up the Premier League, Dewsbury Hall, Barnes, Daka, Maddison, Tete. And then you go, okay, let's say all of them, well, some of them get injured. You've still got Soyuncu on the bench. Again, Vardy to go, Iheanacho, Ricardo, Amati, Samore, like Mendy. We've got the squad there. So a manager should be looking at it going, this is a great opportunity for us to really go, I've got a great bunch of lads here, young bunch that I could really do a lot with. And a right manager can, again, we're thinking again for the future, but for now, I think a manager goes in, I like that project.
Well, I think the big thing is that you look at the squad and you go, this is not a relegation level squad. No. This is a mid-table squad and up, in my opinion. So I still think that this squad, with the right manager, could contend for a top 5 finish. I really do. But that's probably because I'm biased. But
we've seen it as well.
Yeah, but we have seen it. But like you have to look at the fact that like whoever's coming in is going to look at this squad and say, this squad can compete. And if that's the mindset they're going to have, then they can go, well, if they can compete for the next 10 games, survive relegation, I have summer to create my own squad because we all know what's going to happen this summer. Players are going. James Madison is probably going. And that's like, I'm 100% certain he's going. You got Yuri Tillemans, who's going to ride the rest of his contract out and leave in the summer. And I think we're going to see a couple other players leave as well. And with this the case, you're going to bring in some money with Madison, especially. And whoever this manager is going to be like, okay, I have the opportunity to create my own squad. I'm going to get rid of the players I don't want. I'm going to keep the players I do. And I think whoever comes in under the right circumstance is going to keep a fair bit of the players, because there's a lot of talented players young. And that's the key piece of this, is that they're young. So if you have a manager that comes in and says, I'm good at developing young talent, not like Brendan Rodgers, but even though apparently he was good at developing young talent, regardless, you're going to have someone come in.
But he's not done for the last year, I'd say.
But I think someone's going to be able to come in and really look at all this and be like, this is great. Let's work on this. And, you know, I think the club really needs to focus in on the fact that, like, this summer is pivotal, as long as we get through the next 10 games.
Yeah, we just got to get through again the next 10 days. We've got Gary here. Gary, thanks for joining, man. What are your thoughts? Again, literally breaking news. I've just had to go live, but it's been coming, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I don't think we actually thought this was going to happen. Just the way we've dragged our heels with it for so long. Like, obviously, like taking this season in isolation, we had poor start. It looked like it was going to be up before the World Cup. Looked like we were on a better thing, and then since then it's just been, well, awful. And we've been waiting for this for so long. It's to be honest, I'm just glad to see it's actually happened now.
We've got just people in the chat. Ant's here. So thank you. Yes, if you want to join, mate, again, you've got the link, so let us know. What's it called? Akash is here as well in the chat. And happy. It's just I think what it is, happy was I'm just relieved at the moment. Now there's a process of what do we do next? And I'm just having a look at some of the managers that you put in. Pochettino, I don't think it's going to happen. Let's be perfectly honest. Pochettino's not going to happen. Let's have a good look at again. People got Big Sam.
I think an interim is the only way that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. To the end of the season. I think he's gone into retirement. I don't think he wants to come at this point. I think Mark makes a good point, and this is what you were saying as well. We have a similar strength in terms as a manager like Emery. And I've got another video coming out soon, just in the in a few hours' time, with an Aston Villa fan, where he was talking about, I can't believe that Emery came to us. We are super leaguing it a little bit, where he went and jumped into an Aston Villa club. But we can definitely get a manager, not of that ilk, but a manager that even potentially keeping an eye on Graham Potter as well. Could that be an option? But again, he's still at a club, isn't he?
Yeah, I think your key issue there with Potter will be any sort of release clause, because you have to remember they paid good money to get him out of Brighton. So even if they don't think he's the man for the job, which they have given him probably a lot more time than Chelsea have given any manager, but they will be looking at the fact that there is going to be a financial aspect to that. So, you know, if there is any rumor that we might want him, they may even hold on and sort of go, right, okay, well, we won't sack him, we'll get some money for him. So that again, if he was a free agent, so to speak, then yeah, absolutely, I can't see any reason why it wouldn't happen. But getting any manager out of a club now for us, Graham Potter's probably a very hard one to do, just for the financial side of things.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree there. Just having a look at, again, Nandez in the chat. Make sure you go subscribe to Nandez, really good channel as well, right? King Power's going to be crazy on Tuesday, and I'm hoping so. We had a similar thing, Alex. Remember when Ranieri went and everything? Again, there was a big mourning in the city in general, and we came out and we go, look, and there was a lot of toxicity on social media, but then the players came out and realized that, oh, this is just on social media, it's not actually happening. So I'm hoping we need that response against Villa.
Oh, absolutely. I feel like a broken record, but honestly, this next match will ultimately decide the rest of the season. It really will now, with Rodgers being gone. If we come out and we are lackluster, to say the least, I think I don't want to be the Debbie Downer here, but I think you nail last nail in the coffin. Like, that's the end of the season for me. If we come out and it's just terrible. But if we come out and we actually put on a good performance and you pull out a win or bring out a draw and a good fighting draw, then I think you can really consider that we're back in it for this season. But you need that, and I think the atmosphere needs to be as positive as it has ever been, because if that atmosphere is garbage, it's just gonna just add on. And I think at that rate, I think that's the big thing. This next match is pivotal, and I've said that for way too long.
Yeah, I know what you mean. We've got a Saints fan in the chat, mate. Are you not watching the game? Nathan Jones is available, and he's not coming anywhere near us, I don't think. Georgie One Foot's here again. Great to meet you. I think the away game saw last time, mate. Great news. And thank God. I think the fans are pretty much all united in this perspective as well. What's interesting as well, it won't be given to the position at the moment. Let me see if I can find just something I've read. Assistant manager Chris Davis and fitness coach will also be leaving the clubs as well. So it's not. So it looks like Gary Stowell at least for one match.
Bring on Mike Stowell's blue and white army, I tell you. To be honest, I think so. I think again, there's 10 games to go. They've already said, what we need to do over the next 10 games is clear. I think with that, they probably won't rush to get just anybody. Also, the fact is the next game is on Tuesday. So, it's going to be a tough one. Are you going to bring somebody in straight away there and then, get something? Probably not. So, we're expecting, obviously, Stowell and I think Adam Sadler as well. I think they've sort of said the two of them are going to be the leading lads for that. Which, to be fair, like you say, talking back to the atmosphere, if the and I fully expect all the fans to be in there and realize right now is the time to battle for it. If the King Power is rocking on Tuesday, as I expect it will be, and that is shown with the players. I think if we see the fight and the desire from the players come Tuesday, then it's gonna certainly make it a bit easier for them to bring somebody in, because I say right there is a club, there is a set of fans, there is a bunch of players that ultimately want to fight for this. It will make it easier for somebody coming in, and I think maybe we will see an interim for the 9 games or so. I think maybe only being 9 games maybe makes it a bit more difficult in terms of bringing in an interim manager, because you're sort of saying to somebody, come here for nine weeks and see you later. Thanks very much. Hopefully you keep us up. Tend to be a little bit longer for interim managers, but we'll see, I guess. At the end of the day, I think my feelings on it personally are the way the mentality had gone under Rodgers and this whole, we'll be fine, it's okay, keep doing this. I mean, we even saw James Maddison coming out and saying, the performances against, we'll pick something up, and then we're getting 3 shots, not even 3 shots on target, we're getting 3 shots away in 3 games and losing against, obviously, was it Palace had 30-something shots, 31 shots to our 3, and players saying, we'll be okay, we'll just keep creating the chances. But what chances are you creating? So that obviously wasn't happening. We then seen Keenan Dewsbury Hall losing his head and messaging Leicester fan YouTube account pages asking why they think he's not done very well. So there's a big mentality issue there. If we can see that changed over these next few weeks and show that there's some fight there, I think we should be okay to at least put our names to stay up. But it's been far too long coming.
Yeah, it's definitely been so far too long coming. Again, just so I would get to you, Alex, but we've got, again, either the panel's getting bigger. Mark's in the chat. Mark, okay, great to have you, mate. Oh, how's that feel for you now?
It's great to be here. What a time to be alive.
Already the slander has started from, you see he's come in and he's already put the comment in. But yeah, how's your feeling about, again, is it relief, excitement? What do you think? What do you feel?
Bit of everything. It feels like a bit of everything. It feels like the girl that you've been wanting to date for a long time has finally said yes to you today. That's how it sort of feels. So it was a bit of frustration in there. Why is it taking so long? Obviously, it's happened eventually, so we're all glad for that. But I've just tweeted that we've got to come together as a fan base now, because we've got to be that 12th man. There's no this divide that there's been games recently. It's got to stop, and we need to be channeling all that energy into the right place.
Yeah, exactly. And I think in the summer we'll look back and we'll look back a little bit more and we'll go, okay, what has Brendan Rodgers achieved with the FA Cup, with the Charity Shield? We can then, I think for now, it's more, we just need to kind of as you were saying, get together, get behind the squad. And I think, Alex, they are going to be up for it. And this is what, again, as Mark, we need to do. We need to just get together and go, right, get behind them, turn it into a fortress and just get safe, rebuild in the summer, and then we can get behind whoever's needed and give them the time to do what they need to do.
Oh, absolutely. Because you have to look at this as a whole. Whoever comes in has to literally rebuild the colossal destruction that Rodgers has left. I think there's a lot of people that will say, well, he did a lot of positive stuff. If you look at where he had the club when he first came in, the money he spent while he was here to where he's left it, it's like watching Rome be blown up by a nuclear bomb and then being like, okay, we got to rebuild it, but nothing is working. So this is the kind of situation we have to be patient. And I think we're in that situation where I think there's going to be a lot of supporters that are going to be like, well, why isn't this fixed right away? Like, look at the players that we have. But I think you really need to look at this and be like, this isn't going to be a simple fix. This is going to take time. We're going to lose players because we're going to have to sell them to make a profit. We're going to have to bring in younger players and develop them. And I think that's what we're going to be seeing over the next 2 to 3 seasons, especially if, and that's if we survive relegation. If we don't survive relegation, we're talking about a whole different conversation, and it's going to be a lot more painful. So I think right now we just need to be completely on board, be that 12th man and just actively support wherever you're from, whether you're inside the stadium or if you're sitting on the couch in the middle of Canada freezing your ass off. You just got to support. And I think that's where we're at right now.
Yeah, definitely agree. Erin's in the chat again, one of our fans from leader, I think, is joint page of the LCFC Turkey page. So Erin said Lille looked happy for the first time. I think you were on when we did, I think it was the Manchester United game when we lost 1-0. Same feelings, just different month pretty much earlier on in the season. But yeah, so there's some really good stuff as well. And I think I've got Sports, so shout out to Sports in the chat. All the channels and all the pages and stuff is really good. So I'll try and, again, at the end of the show, I'll try and link as many as possible. And for those of you that are in, make sure you follow these people. So Alex, again, see Gary at C92 and Mark below as well. It's 11, it's him, Jamie Vardy. Mark, this is a good time to restart the podcast, no?
We started it already. So we've come back together to make some, I'll say sweet music, but it's just 5 men having a bit of a moan about the way things have been going. But I don't know. I feel like it's going to have a whole new angle to come out when we record tomorrow night. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Because also the fact that one of your fans is a Villa fan,
huge game. It's a game that I always circle out as one that if we lose, I'm going to get no end of crap for. So I hope that's not going to be the case. So Neil, going back to I don't know what I've missed and what I haven't, because I was desperately trying to get my shopping away because I'm living this rock and roll lifestyle. But the first thing I would do as any caretaker would be to put Chagalos Yunchu back in the team on Tuesday. Yeah. I don't know if you said that, but that would be number one priority, to get him back in there, freshen it up again, play 3 at the back if we need to shore things up, and go from there.
Yeah. I totally agree. I mean, Gary, your thoughts? Because I think that's one player I was looking at when we just went through the team and the bench. We realised that Charlotte, maybe this is his redemption arc at the moment. I know there's not, obviously, things have soured. We still know he's a quality player. I don't think we're going to convince him to stay. However, just giving him that kind of a proper send off for what he's achieved with us, especially going on, he was part of the FA Cup team as well.
Yeah, I think where we're at now, I think everything, like the fans, the players, the club, they just need to look at this 10 games in isolation now. Whatever you're going to do at the end of the season, obviously we know there's 8 players in that squad out of contract, so aren't you being one of them? Okay, we need to go and take this 10 games in isolation and go, right, give us everything for these 10 games. Whatever happens, because like Alex has already said, there's no guarantee because of this we stay up. There's not. We've seen all of the other clubs, bar West Ham, change manager. And all of them look like they're up for a fight in this relegation battle, something we haven't seen from us yet. So there's still no guarantee in that. But in the sense that obviously we've finally made a decision on this. If we can go and fight and show for the next 10 games, actually we're up for the battle, I don't see any reason why we can't bring ourselves out of it. And then, like you say, players like Soranchu, bringing them back into the team, you know, we know his quality. We know where the defense is maybe slowed. If it takes going to 3 at the back and 2 strikers to get us out of this, which is a formation that I think we've underutilized throughout certainly the last 2 years. And you know, if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. It's 10 games, go for it. You know, we will look back after this 10 games at what's happened before, whether positive or negative. Obviously, that depends on whether we stay up. If we do go down, like Alex touched on, it's going to be one hell of a different ride for us. There's going to be so much going wrong with the club. If we stay up, then right, we can go fine, bring in our permanent manager from there on, rebuild, whatever, and then we can start to look back at actually what was Rodgers' tenure like. You know, the first 2 years of unbelievable football, missing out on the top 4 twice, winning us an FA Cup, taking us to Europe, absolutely fantastic, alongside the fact that we have been dragged down into this position we are now, have 8 players out of contract. We have potentially no money. We've had to bring in players in January to shore this up. One of them, Tete, still doesn't look like he's maybe actually what we thought he might be. You know, with injuries galore, and obviously part of that, they've sacked the fitness coach here too. So that tells me something in that sense, you know, that maybe he's gone. There must be a reason. You know, it's going to be the 10 games is going to make or break the club for the future. You know, so it needs to be, like we've all said, everybody coming together, whether it is at the King Power or on the sofa, whatever, coming together, supporting everything, giving us everything for these 10 games, and we'll see where we are after that.
Yeah, I'm really hoping so, because again, there's the squad we have is that's the case, and I think you're right. 3 at the back would work perfectly for us as well. And the one that I have now, I think the game that we watched against Brentford, where Jamie Vardy came on and Dennis Pratt came on, and they both just were looking like not even listening, just like glazed eyes completely. They stayed on them for a good 10 seconds. Is this the revival we need, Alex, for Jamie Vardy? Because there's been lots of write-off, and there's been enough saying, just wait till we get a new manager, let's see what happens. And because it's obviously, and you could just tell he's jogging around the pitch, he's not trying. And is this the redemption that Jamie Vardy needs? Because if there is one man to look to try and win games now, it's going to be our talisman that we've relied on for the last few years.
I think whoever this interim manager is, or new permanent manager is, I think the first thing he should do when he enters the club is he just approaches Jamie Vardy, hands him a Red Bull, and says, "It's time to get weird." I honestly think that's the best way to go about this. But I honestly think that this is Jamie Vardy's redemption story. Like, redemption in the way of, like, he's just going to go insane these last 10 games. Because I really do think that this season, and I don't know about anybody else, but I really think that this has been the season that Vardy's contemplated retiring.
Yeah.
And I think the way everything's gone, I think he's been, why am I doing this? This is not what I love. This is depressing. So I think that these last 10 games will be Vardy going, let's do this, because I might end this season. I might retire at the end of this season. And it's going to be wild. And I think that he's going to come in, and I think we're going to see I'm saying like 5, 6, maybe even 7 goals from Jamie Vardy. And we're going to just see like the shithousery that we've missed. And it's just going to just elevate the club to like a whole new level that we've desperately needed. Because I think that's what you're going to need. And if that does happen, I think if Vardy really buys into these last 10 games, because I think like everybody, but I think the whole squad looks up to Vardy. And I think if he buys into this new manager, interim or not, I think the club, all the rest of the squad will follow. And I think that's something that we really need. And I think you need to give Vardy also the option or the opportunity to play. Just let him go. At this point of the season, it's like, do whatever works. And if that's, letting Vardy just do whatever he needs to do, why not? Just let it happen.
Yeah.
But I also think that the manager, whoever it is, should go out to the farthest forest in Leicester, bring Yannick Vestergaard with him, dig a hole, tell him to jump in the hole, and then bury his feet and just say, stand there until the end of your contract's up and then walk away. I think that's the other thing that shouldn't be done. But I digress on that one.
He'll be in a hole and he'll just be as good in the air than he is on the pitch.
Yeah,
because
he doesn't contact with anything.
It's so strange. It's so strange. But again, coming back to the question mark, I think as well, Mike Stoll's been there. He's part of the furniture now. He's been there as long as I can remember. He's got to play Jamie Vardy in the next game. And I think that, along with the crowd, it's just the lift that we need going into the Villa game.
Yeah, I think so. I think any characters you've got in that squad that have got that fight and that desire, then they need to be starting. So absolutely, out of the three strikers we've got, who would you want to go into war with, really, at the moment? And it's got to be Jamie Vardy, isn't it? He's the one that will run through a brick wall for Leicester City. I know there's been a bit of tongue-in-cheek stuff said around Dewsbury Hall, who's been poor this season, but for me, he's got to start as well, because the lads that get it and that know what it's all about, it doesn't matter if they're not playing at the best at the minute. What matters is that they care, and that's the first thing that us Leicester fans need to see. We need to see 11 guys out there that look like they really give a toss, and I think we'll see that. And to be fair, I think it'll be the first time for a while that they'll have heard that from the fans, because it's been flat for the last couple of months down there. So I think it'll be. I think Villa fans now. I've already had Villa fans reaching out to me, several today, because of where I live, saying you can have your new manager bounce, but not till after Tuesday. So I think they know what's going to come in terms of atmosphere on Tuesday night.
I think they are as well, and it's interesting because I'll try and bring up Ali, who we talked about before. But in terms of that, in terms of runs that you can go on, because under Gerrard they were woeful. This was something that I've just found earlier as well. They were 17th, 3 points off getting sacked, and that was again earlier on in December. Now they're 2 points off top six. Villa have gone on an unbelievable run, and the thing is, they've not actually bought in that many players. It just shows you what a manager can do. And bearing in mind, speaking to Villa fans and how they felt about Gerrard and the situation there, it could be another similar thing, because I think there is the option of going on a run, but I think that almost has to wait till next season. But it just shows you again a bounce continue, just like Craig Shakespeare kind of did play the same football, but there was a genuine bounce for. I think he got won the record of like winning his first 6 games or something like that.
I think he did get a record for Premier League managers first so many games. I think he was up there, certainly up there at one point with Guardiola and some of the best. So, I think you're right. There is the fact that now you only have 9 games, so everybody should be focused for those 9 games. It does give you the ability to put a run together and drag yourselves right out of it. I think from what you said about the crowd, if the players turn up on Tuesday and see that the crowd is as electric as it will have been all season, they'll be going, hold on a minute, like we will feed off of this. The players have said constantly that they feed off of the crowd. So if the crowd's electric, if you then throw in Jamie Vardy into the mix, who we know loves that kind of atmosphere, positive or negative, like he can go to an away ground, get pelters all game, and he will feed off it. But if he is refocused and showing as a leader in that team, like then I can't see many players not wanting to run that extra 5 yards, because it was that old adage, certainly from the year we won the league. You look forward and you saw Jamie Vardy chasing everything down. You thought to yourself, oh, I better do it. And that's where the whole team came together. So I think you're right. I think it makes for sort of a good mix of positivity going forward. But again, like I can't reiterate enough how it just needs to be focused on this 10 games, and we'll worry about everything after.
Yeah, we'll deal with that when it comes, because I think there is, again, it's just the meantime is we've got our solution. And the thing is, the foundations at Leicester, we've got a good position to come in terms of the training ground. We've talked about the players. Yes, there is going to be a change in the summer. Our board is known as a good board to be a part of. This ground and what the plan is to get bigger. We are still an exciting prospect, but it's something that will have to come probably later down the line. But for me now, if we are going to attract, just even if it is Stowell, I doubt he'll go to the end of the season. I just don't think they will do that. They'll try and get somebody in at a minimum, but we just need that bounce. And I think one thing that it's so. What do you think characteristics wise, Alex? We're looking for somebody in a new manager. Because again, it obviously wasn't working with Brendan this year.
Motivational, someone who just says, we're doing great. I want someone who, I don't know why, but I really do envision more of like a Canadian styled aggressive coach being like a good kick in the ass, but being like, we need this. And just being like, this, I don't want you guys to just sit around and do, just to get by. I want you to get off that pitch at the end of the day, and I want you to throw up. I want you to, give it 150%, because if you don't give it 150% for the last 10 games, you're going to be playing in the championship. And you don't want to be in the championship. And if you do, then get off the club. Get out of the club. And I think you need that motivation. You need the tough love. Like the really tough love, but also the understanding of what you've gone through for the entire season. Because I think there's that mix. Because you're going to be dealing with players like Soyuncu, who's just had to deal with crap. Right? And that's one thing where you got to be like tough love, where you're like, yeah, it sucked, but I'm going to give you the opportunity. And I think that's what you need.
I think we need to literally go to, because this is a similar kind of, as you remember, to the Great Escape. Around the similar time we went on the run. And what we need, rather than even tough love, it's just a manager to come in and go, it's us versus the world. And that's what Pearson did. And it worked brilliantly. There was elements of, you could see we were trying to win games. There was individual errors and it just didn't work, Mark. But I think that's what we need also. This is our Great Escape version too. But the difference is we've got the squad. We've been in the Premier League for coming up to, it'll be soon coming up to 10 years in a row that we're coming up into Premier League with a consistent player. And in that time, we've won trophies and Premier League and FA Cup and things like that as well. We just need somebody to put the arm around the squad and goes, we can do this. Forget about anything else. Let's go and run, because our fixtures, I think we can do something with them.
Yeah, the fixtures are winnable, and the good thing is we're not cast adrift, are we? Really? I know we're in 18th at the minute, but a couple of wins would get us right out of the
19th. Actually, sorry, West Ham are currently winning.
West Ham are winning, are they?
Yeah,
great.
1-0.
That's what I want to hear. It was going to go one way or the other today, though, wasn't it? More than likely. Yeah. So, that's no surprise, really. But yeah, someone to come in and put an arm around. I think Alex said the exactly the right word right at the beginning there. We need a motivator. We don't need someone to say we're not good enough and every other club's great, which is what's been happening in recent times. We need someone to come in that is going to make those players feel like they're 10 feet tall, make everyone feel like everyone's behind them. I like the you versus us mentality, the mentality of sort of cutting it away a little bit and just really sticking to what we've got within the squad. We can't change the squad now. We won't be getting our permanent manager anytime soon. I don't believe. I think it'll be a caretaker till the end of the season. I'd be really surprised, because I think the sorts of managers that we would want are probably at other clubs at the minute, and I don't see anyone leaving a club with 10 games or 8 games of the season left. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting few weeks. But we've just got this mini season now. Absolutely. Let's see where we end up. There's 30 points to play for, isn't there? We could realistically win about 20 of those looking at the fixtures. I feel like that now. I didn't feel like that yesterday.
Yeah, I'll just bring the fixtures up at the moment, but we'll go through some of these at the moment. Obviously, we've got Villa. We've got Villa because there's a Villa again. It's going to be a tough game, but the fact that we've got that new manager bounce, you saw what it did to even Roy Hodgson, and showed you what they could do. Then after that, we'll look at again April. We've got Bournemouth, Man City, Wolves, and Leeds. So Gary, just over to you. Looking at those fixtures, and then for the month of April, because now we're in April. That and the Villa game. Any thoughts about? Okay, do we feel a lot more confident? What are you thinking? What are your thoughts?
Well, obviously, we know we're guaranteed 3 points at Man City away because we regularly get them there as it is. So if we take that one out, but no, like the fixes there, we've been saying it even before, like on here, on social media, everything, that the running, if you like, towards this last part. I think only Crystal Palace had on paper a better running than us. Mm-hmm. Obviously, they had to play us under Rodgers, which would have obviously made that a lot easier for them. But I think if you look at the fixtures, they are all winnable fixtures. This is why it's so make or break now. And I think this is why, like Alex said, it's so important that we need to be realistic about this caretaker side of things. It needs to be somebody that can come in and just motivate. They're not going to be coming in and putting a brand of football in place. We're not going to be, changing anything majorly, too difficult. So those fixtures there, I think certainly through April, you would be targeting to get your 9 points in the sense of Bournemouth, Wolves, Leeds. But the key thing is that you're coming away from those 3 games without having lost them. You don't want points gained by anybody else. Obviously, we are now below most of these teams, but what we can't do is we can't get caught adrift. So, yes, all right, it may be a bit unfortunate you play Man City between them, so it maybe knocks a bit. But at the same time, if you go to Man City with a new manager and have that positive attitude and show the fight in that one there is just about performance and getting a good performance and keeping some momentum. So it's there for us to do. It's not a case of we've now got to play all of the top 6 plus potentially Brighton or somebody. We have got to play teams in and around us, which with it being so tight along the bottom, we are, with West Ham winning, we are like obviously second bottom now, but we are still only 5 points off of Crystal Palace in 12th. So, which is crazy. I think maybe the same way when we won the league, it was mad how badly everybody was doing. But like all the top teams, it played in our favour. Hopefully the fact that we've got another freak bottom half of the table this season might work in our favour. I don't know. But the points are there to be had. You have to be aiming for 9 points from those 4 games. You certainly don't want to be losing any of them if you can't convert the wins.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that's what Alan was saying as well. Draws are not good enough. We need to start winning because bearing in mind, if we're playing these people, they will be getting the same points as well. And it's only shifts it up a small amount. We need to shift up a big amount for us to be safe. And again, same as this Great Escape season. So yeah, that's that. There is good stuff. Anybody got any other thoughts or anything? Because again, I'm running out of any other ideas, but I just feel relieved. But I'm really interested. I feel hopeful for the first time because even after that game, or watching the Crystal Palace game, I was just going. The worst thing is we've seen it with what 22 points. Is it now? Maybe more than this season that we've dropped from winning positions.
Yeah, I think I did see that stat. Yeah, I'll bring this to you because I've just happened to get this up when we were talking about managers, but I have the current odds on Betfair for our next permanent manager, right? Mm-hmm. Rafa Benitez is the current favourite, which scares me. Then some of these names on here are quite interesting. You've Thomas Frank. I don't know why he would leave Brentford.
No, he signed a new contract this year as well.
Exactly. You've got Postecoglou. I really can't see us going and knock on Celtic's door again and say, hi, can we take your manager? Bielsa is the one that interests me. Only on the basis if we stay up, do you have time to enter a brand of football? I don't know.
I think he was linked with the Uruguay job actually internationally. Yeah. I have to find that.
And then just going down below that, so Pochettino's on there again. I don't see that happening. You then have the likes of Ralph Hasenhüttl, and then even our own Adam Sadler at 10-1. So you could scroll down this list all day. You've Ruud van Nistelrooy, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer on there, Daniel Farke on there, Scott Parker, Neil Lennon, Steve Cooper makes an appearance at 20-1. No, thank you. Roy Hodgson is even on there. It's crazy to see some of these. Ranieri is currently out at 33-1, but the same price as Ruben Amorim, which would be one I would also be interested in. Wayne Rooney, Claude Puel to make a return to the club at 40-1. Martin O'Neill also at 40-1. Stealing Unai Emery off of Villa 50-1. The relegation favourites of Alan Pardew and Sam Allardyce are both out at 66-1. And then Roy Keane at 150-1. If anybody really wants that motivational manager for the last
I was going to say that sounds like Alex's manager, doesn't it?
I think his odds have just shortened after they've watched the podcast there, Alex. So thank you for that.
That's unbelievable. None of them names are either unrealistic that aren't going to come in or just fill me with no. But the club do know what they're doing in terms of managerial appointments, even if this one ended terribly.
I don't know if they do this time, Neil. I don't know if they do. I don't think they had any intention to get rid of Rodgers all the way through, because if they had have done, they would have done it for the international break. It's just been give a new manager a couple of weeks to come in and have a look. I imagine Rodgers has picked the phone up to top and said, "Look, I can't do this anymore. Let's talk money." That's probably where I think it's come from, rather than the other way around. So I don't know. Do you think they've got a plan?
For the summer, maybe.
I think they're putting square pegs in round holes still. I think they're still trying to figure things out. I honestly do I agree with you on that one, Mark. I think their intention was to keep him until the end of the season. And it could very much be the sense that Rodgers just called top and was like, I'm done. Like, I'm done with this. Like, this is bad. And, I think the club could be scrambling. I'm hoping that there was a plan in place, because I'm hopeful that the board has been looking at candidates for a few months now. But the way that things have gone this season, it wouldn't surprise me is if they literally have a piece of paper with the word manager on it, and it's been, underlined like 4 times, and there isn't anything underneath it. There might be a photo of like Bart Simpson there, and that's about it. Like, that's kind of like the way that I'm kind of looking at this right now. And it's the level of, belief right now that level of belief is a little bit jaded right now, I think. I'm hoping I'm wrong. I'm hoping that, they're going to come in, come out Tuesday, and, come out strong, and then be like, guess what? We have someone ready, and we've had this person ready for the last 3 weeks. We just we didn't realize that there was an international break.
But that just sounds awful. As a club, planning wise, that just sounds terrible.
Which also makes it sound realistic the way it's been going. So
yeah. Just like Leicester, really weak mentality.
Yeah.
This was a good point as well. Tyler puts in, worth mentioning, at the end of after 60 minutes, we'll be 8th in the league. Lack of strong mentality again. I kind of stole that from there. Struggling, and this cannot happen. Even just somebody that knows how to finish out games, that will be unbelievable just in itself, because we can do the rest of it.
We're too soft, Neil. We're too soft, and we're not wise enough. Yeah, we're not wise enough for seeing these games out at the moment, and I'm hoping that can change instantly.
Yeah, and who do you think can change that within the squad?
Well, I think you have to look at your senior players, don't you? That's why sending Mark Albrighton out on loan seems a worse decision every week at the minute. So players that understand the club, understand what it means to be part of the fabric here, they're the ones that can help lever us out of this mess. Johnny Evans when he's fit, which is rarely. Even Yuri Tillemans, those players, to lose those players was a big blow to us. But I think all of them have probably got it in them. Harry Suter, Wout Fass, absolutely, they're that type of player. They both
speak really well. They both. Have you ever heard them in the interviews?
Yeah,
they both speak really better than the manager did. I remember a few weeks ago.
It's not a high bar, though, is it?
Christensen, Ricardo. I think they've all got it. It's just bringing them out. We need a manager that's going to bring that out of them now.
We just need to go back like almost 10 months and tell Kasper Schmeichel to stay and beg him and be like, we'll give you whatever you want. Like, I'd literally drive over myself, be like, I'll give you my car that's in Canada, please stay. Like, I'd literally throw whatever I could to keep Kasper Schmeichel, because I really do think his mentality and the way that he even, portrayed and, came in each and every single game, and having that vocal piece on the pitch for 90 minutes was vital. And I think losing him especially has been a huge cancer to the club itself.
Yeah, here's one for you then. What would you, if obviously we don't know where we're going to be for the next few seasons, make this interim manager a bit more difficult. How would you feel seeing the likes of fit given to the senior players? We've seen it happen a few times before, but the one I have in mind would be Johnny Evans. I think somebody's mentioned it. Dorgo mentions it in the chat there as well. Johnny Evans is injured. We're not going to see him back from injuries anytime soon. But we've stressed even before we were in this position about it'd be great to get him on the coaching staff at the end of his career. So, with Johnny Evans, obviously he would have Mike Stowell and the rest of the senior coaches there as well, which have done the managerial side of it before. It's something that I think he would certainly put the passion behind them again, and the fight and the drive. And obviously he's experienced relegation himself. He's experienced relegation battles. So I certainly don't think that would be a horrendous decision, certainly considering the financial aspect of managers.
Why not? Honestly.
I'd be happy. I'm happy with anyone, to be fair. You could have put a chimp in a suit and put them in charge of Leicester City, and I would have seen that as an upgrade.
I think Steve Cooper's still in a job, though.
I think there are certain managers that I'm like, stay away. Steve Bruce, don't come near the club. There's things like that I'm like, no, Benitez. I'm not interested. Benitez is another one. I don't think Benitez. I think do I want to say that he applied for the job before when when they sacked Puel? Was that real? I don't know if that was.
I'm not sure, but I know that he had sort of been putting his name around again when he thought we were going to sack Rodgers previously. There was a big rumour about him coming to Leicester and sort of saying, hi, I'm available. Hopefully they just push the door closed slowly and hope for the best.
And just put vacant, occupy goes to vacant. No, the other way around.
Yeah, just closed. Sorry, nobody's in. But it's I don't know. It's like I wouldn't want to see Rafa Benitez there. I wouldn't. But yeah, so there's like I say, I would not be against seeing Johnny Evans in charge for the rest of this end of the season, along with Mike Stowell, Adam Sadler, and the rest of the guys there. Just the people that are already at the club that have been there for a few years and maybe know what the difference is. We've lost the drive and the passion and the efforts and all that. I mean, the first 3 minutes of that Palace game yesterday, you could see what it meant to them. You could hear what it meant to them with the crowd as well. That's what we need for a relegation fight. Everton did it last year. Palace seem to want to do it this year. We need to do it as well. Gary, you're going to get attacked. I know. It's because I mentioned Rafa Benitez, so she's not too happy there.
Yeah, it's a good point. I think if that's the case, that I don't know how likely that would be to do, but I'm just happy that we're in this position. The more you say it, the more it makes sense for the Johnny Evans. He's been there. He's won. God, how many trophies with Man United? Again, they went through a bit of a dry spell, but he's been one of the senior players for the team. It'll be interesting if he's up for the challenge, because he's not up for a physical challenge because he's injured all the time.
Yeah. My other option is you pay whatever money to Brett Goldstein to play to become Roy Kent and be like, you are the manager of Leicester City, but you are Roy Kent, and just let him go and just see what happens. Be like, you wrote the script. Let's see what happens now. And I would just be like, it's the year this season. It wouldn't surprise me at that point. I'd be totally down to watch it and be like, okay, let's just watch Brett Goldstein as Roy Kent manage Leicester City in real life and just see what happens.
To be fair, it wouldn't surprise me with the club if somebody's been watching Ted Lasso thinking it's a documentary and actually does go to approach them, because they have seen that out of touch at times this year. It wouldn't surprise me if they've sort of seen that and gone, he looks like a fantastic managerial candidate. But all joking aside, the closest person to Roy Kent would be Roy Keane. So don't rule that out. We've mentioned it already.
Yeah, that I was going to say. I was literally, as you were saying that, Tyler's put it in based off why not get the real one. We just need something. And the thing is that I'll go through it again. But the squad that we have, if I get the first team up, I know the injuries at the moment, but the squad that we have in that first team is still sublime. And yes, we have, again, James Justin out injured, Joey Tillemans out injured, Johnny Evans out injured. There's still quality throughout this team. And I don't know about you guys, but Iverson really impressed me, considering we were shocking. Iverson really impressed me in that game. I mean, you're looking at, again, going forward, Daniel Iverson. At the back, I forgot he existed, to be honest. You've got Johnny Evans injured, but Seun-Chu, James injured. But we've still got a good squad there. There's still genuine. Remember we said about the last summer, didn't we, Alex? There's a good squad here that can definitely achieve stuff.
Oh, for sure. Definitely a good squad that can do some stuff. Because I will still say with the right manager, this squad can compete for a top 10 finish. And that's being, I still think maybe in top 7, compete for the Europa Conference. I really do believe it. So I need to head out. So that was my last 10 cents. But yeah, hopefully my last thing I say is like, hopefully on Tuesday we can come out strong. So.
No worries. Thanks, Alex. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, his link will be in the description if you want to follow him on Twitter, or Alex, Canadian Foxes as well. Crystal Palace fans in the chat feel really sad as I'm sure Leicester City will bring it. I doubt we're going to go for somebody like Vieira. I thought I was going to go in a different direction. And shout out Lewis as well for the raid. At least one team is at their manager. Lewis is a big Chelsea fan. Mate, sack him. I'd love it. I'd love to have him at the moment, but it would be ideal. I think but it's a very similar trajectory, isn't it? What Graham Potter's been through to what Brendan Rodgers went through at Liverpool. Just went too big too soon, isn't it, Mark?
What was that? Sorry.
The pod situation, and then the pod situation, and then the Brendan Rodgers situation. Obviously, you just went too soon from Liverpool to Swansea to Liverpool, and then
it happens, doesn't it? I think Potter needs time to put something in place, and he's not going to get afforded that time when Chelsea's spending what they're spending. And I understand it from sort of both sides. I think he's having a rotten time at the minute, but they don't have a goal scorer at Chelsea, do they? So, you know, if Chelsea think they're in trouble, they want to take a trip up the M1 and see us, because we're in bags more trouble, and we'd probably still kill to have someone like Potter in charge.
Yeah, definitely that's the case. But yeah, I think that's anything else to mention, Gary, because I think we've pretty much exhausted everything, and I'm just glad that that's the case. In my opinion, I'm just glad that we've done it. Okay, we can think about next steps, because I'm feeling a bit more positive at least.
Yeah, I think that's it. You know, we've obviously gone through the main things there. The only thing I was going to touch on, you obviously mentioned about Daniel Evenson there. I have to say as well, I was massively impressed with him yesterday. So it was great to actually see it. Then it's just another nail against Brendan Rodgers, though. The fact that he played like that yesterday, and we've had him sitting on the bench this whole season, when, like, I genuinely believe if he'd have played all season, we would not be as close down the bottom as we are, because some of the goals we've conceded that have come from mistakes from Danny Ward or lack of confidence in the back line of having decent people, whereas Daniel Everson yesterday didn't put a foot wrong and was so unfortunate as well to concede the free kick that we've had a guy like that sat on the bench all season. It's just another thing where you go why did Rodgers wait until now to actually utilize him? It was clear that Danny Ward was maybe not the guaranteed number one. You should have given it earlier in the season. So yeah, that was the only other thing I was going to say just on that. But it was great to see Daniel Everson performance yesterday. It was I genuinely think probably one of the better ones we've seen as a goalkeeping performance alone this season. Not that there's a high bar for it, obviously. But no, other than that, it's just great it feels like such a relief, and all, which it does. I think, the only other thing I would say is, if we just forget where we are, we have to thank Brendan Rodgers for the first 2 years of his tenure. FA Cup, European football, even the Conference League and everything. It was fantastic. Played some of the best football we've ever played, and in the future, we probably will look back and go, he was one of our better managers we've ever had. However, the way it is unfolded and the toxic state that it has become, cheers to him not being there anymore.
Yeah, I think that's the case. Is it too early to say that, Mark, or is it again because he has achieved it has been tarnished recently, but we will look back, and the fact that he's won as the FA Cup, it's a massive deal for us.
It is, but it's too soon to think about that today because of the mess that we're in. So I totally agree. You know, I think it's very, very sad that it's come to this, because I'm sure when he signed that 5-year contract, he thought he'd be leaving another way, probably getting poached by one of the big 6 clubs, but it's not worked out that way. I still expect him to get another fairly big job in England.
Yeah,
because I think the Brendan Rodgers PR machine trumps quite a lot of other things. So, this outside of Leicester, there'll be people saying that Leicester made a big mistake today, letting Brendan Rodgers go. We know that that's not the case. But I expect it. I wouldn't be surprised if he went to Spurs. I really wouldn't be, which would be a huge job for him. But I think he needs a bit of time now to reset, because it must have taken its toll on him personally as well. Because it's not good going to work and have people shouting, "Get out of our club!" Is it? If you went to work and people were shouting that at you, it wouldn't do you any favours. But no, we've come to our natural conclusion now, but it's a little bit too late for me.
Yeah, I agree, and it could have been done at multiple occasions. I think part of it was as well. It was just that one game that he was gonna lose, and then he didn't, and then he won, or he got the draw, and it was just enough to keep his job. But yeah, I think I'm pretty much with you again, Mark. We got 153 people in the chat, but feel free to let them know where your podcasts are as well. And I've linked your channel and everything down below, and your Twitter and your channel below.
Yeah, podcasts are on everywhere you can get a podcast from, really. So Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the rest of that. We've got 60 odd episodes in there. A lot of them have got ex-players, and some really good ones. Pontus Kamark, Tony Cottee, people like that. So Steve Walsh, not Matt Elliott. I nearly created one that we've not had then. Ian Marshall, people that have were legends of the club. So give it a listen if you haven't given it a listen so far.
Yeah, fantastic. We're the first couple links in the description. And then Gary, again, thanks for joining. And it was a completely last minute thing because I didn't expect to be doing this stream because of the timings of things. So yeah, again, massive thanks to yourself. Again, where I've left your links below as well, but tell people where they can find you.
Yeah, no worries. No, thanks for having me on. Yeah, it was very last minute. I actually had to go and take the dressing gown off and get changed. But yeah, though, just at C92, mostly on Twitter now. I just tend to be moonlighting on your guys' shows at the minute. The Twitch has taken a big hold, but you can find me on Twitch as well, .tv/C92.
Fantastic. Yeah. And again, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. I appreciate everybody that's jumped into the chat. Again, this has been a bit of a crazy one. I've seen fans from, again, all sorts, again, Crystal Palace, from Southampton, from Chelsea. It's been brilliant. Thanks, Lewis, for the raid. Appreciate it. We'll see you all. You actually take into the channel. There's going to be an Aston Villa preview, which, again, the world has changed since then because we did that on Thursday, just before we did the press conference. But yeah, make sure you subscribe, all that good stuff. Follow these people below. We'll see you all in the next video. So goodbye.